So I'm here at beautiful sunny gun site in Arizona with Jeremy Stafford, who is the law enforcement and military sales manager for Mossberg.
Yes, sir.
And we're looking at two brand new models that are going to be releasing soon. What?
Yeah, these will be released. Well, the embargo's up January 6th.
Okay.
It's technically a SHOT Show release.
Okay.
And we will have them ready to go. So they should be in stock and ready to sell once the embargo lifts.
Excellent. So, what do we have?
Well, we have our new R and our RM. And the R stands for rotating safety. So you can see what we've done here. We have a pistol grip shotgun. And so Mossberg has a history of the top tank safety.
Mm-hmm.
And with a traditional stock, that's the safety that makes most sense. Right-handed, left-handed, odd positions, it doesn't matter. You can keep your thumb on the safety, your finger on the frame, and your support finger or one of your support fingers on the action release, meaning you can completely manipulate that shotgun without your finger getting anywhere near the trigger. Not the case so much with pistol grip shotguns with a traditional tang safety. With our traditional tang safety, or even with our competitors' trigger guard mounted safety, the pistol grip requires certain hand gymnastics.
Right.
Whether you're coming up here, whether you're coming there, it requires that you move your hand. And we really wanted to get away from that rather. And the genesis of that was the breacher that we built for one of our NATO partners.
Okay.
It was a very big project. It took us 3 years to complete it. A lot of engineering work and a lot of resources. So, but they were able to crack the code in a frame that's not too wildly different than our traditional receiver. We now have this rotating safety. You can see it's an AR style, not a direct AR clone, but AR style. It's an ambi, meaning that I can engage with my thumb, I can engage with my trigger finger, pull it up, whatever your SOPs are, whatever you're comfortable with, you can accomplish it. Likewise, with the action release, I can get underneath there, I can release that action and not have to worry about those hand gymnastics that we talked about where you have to move your hand all over the gun to accomplish an administrative task.
So it looks like you've incorporated some other AR-type features to complement the safety and the grip.
Yeah, so we're not trying to turn the pump shotgun into an AR.
Right.
That's not the goal here. But what we're trying to do is, as the shotgun tends to kind of come back into vogue, which we're seeing things kind of gone full circle, a lot of people are understanding the usefulness and the utility of the shotgun as far as being able to handle different munitions and things of that nature. And what we want to do is provide them with a platform that allows them to feel comfortable with things that they've already learned. One of the biggest drawbacks with an AR-style stock, collapsible stock, and a traditional shotgun is you have that sweep at the back of the shotgun. And it means that the comb of the stock is going to be significantly below the line of sight, line of bore. So that when they mount the gun, what happens is they end up with a chin mount so that they can see through the optic. That chin mount is going to beat the heck out of them and make it real uncomfortable and make it less intuitive to actually find it. So what we've done to find the site, what we've done is we went in there and our engineers looked at it as an engineering challenge, and we have this adapter now that's part of the stock, and it's a 5-position collapsible stock. You can see we have sling swivels in the front of it, QDs in the back of it, and what it allows you to do is take an actual cheek weld when you bring the gun up so that your line of sight is consistent. I'm looking through the optic, and I can do things like I can C-clamp over the top of the heat shield if I want to. I don't have to worry about obscuring my optic because I don't have to keep it super low because I'm not dealing with the drop comb of a traditional style stock.
Right. So that allows folks to just go ahead and get an AR height stock.
Yes.
An AR height sight, one that they already like, or
one that they probably already have.
Right.
Yeah.
So no fuss, no muss in trying to figure out the right height or the right configuration.
Yeah. It's going to work, and it's going to work for the different body shapes and different body styles, whether you're wearing armor, whether you're not wearing armor. This shotgun, we're expecting it to do very well with on our commercial side with a lot of the people who are starting to take their training a little bit more seriously. Certainly, there are arguments against pistol grip shotguns or traditional stock shotguns, and we don't want to dictate that to our customer. We want our customer to be able to decide for themselves through experience which one is the right platform for them, but we want to make sure that they have the best gun for the decision that they make going forward.
Excellent. So the model you're holding is the 590R, which means this is the tube fed.
This is a tube fed, so this is a traditional tube fed. It's going to load and unload just like our standard tube fed. No difference there. The administrative functions are going to be the same, pinching the rounds out, so on and so forth. We still have the heavy-duty screwed-in ejector. We still have dual extractors. All those things that Mossberg kind of we hang our hat on are still going to be there for that. So this gun, from the trigger guard forward, is going to be kind of real similar. Trigger guard back. Now we're talking about an evolution in the pump action shotgun. And you can see we've got a different trigger guard. We've got a different trigger. We've got the flat face trigger, because with the pistol grip, what you're doing is you're introducing a variable in that people's hands are different sizes, and they're going to struggle getting enough finger on the trigger based on their hand size and the type of grip that they decide to put on it.
Right, because it's interchangeable, just like an AR.
Absolutely,
you swap it out.
And so you can change the angle on it. You know, you can even go old school tango down on it if you want to. But that flat trigger is going to allow the widest variety of fingers to make good positive contact with the trigger.
Excellent. Now, I noticed this model is set up with a breeching muzzle.
Yeah.
But if I remember correctly, you can have either a breacher or a plain muzzle.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fixed cylinder bore, is that right?
We have that, and it is cylinder bore. You know, the standoff device, some people are going to say, well, no, it's not a breeching shotgun. Why does it have standoff device? Well, for a couple reasons. One, because we want it there, and because it's cool. And two, because just because it's a little bit longer doesn't mean it couldn't be pressed into service.
Right.
To do that. And, you know, one of the things that we talk about all the time is the fact that the shotgun is a very useful, very utilitarian tool, and you can use a bunch of different munitions, you can use a bunch of different applications, and you know what? If you have to take a doorknob off, you have the ability to do it.
Sure. Now, let me ask you this, though. If you have the standoff device, how does that shape or affect your patterns?
It can absolutely affect it. It's
Okay.
just like a choke tube can, just like anything can. What we recommend you do is get a couple of different quality buckshot solutions and see which one patterns the best. We've had very good luck with the Hornady tactical buckshot, the Federal tactical buckshot.
Sure.
We've had real good results with those. I will tell you that it is going to vary, and what works great in your standard shotgun might not work great in this shotgun. So anytime you're introducing something different to the end of the muzzle, it's kind of incumbent on you to make sure that what you have is performing the way that you want it to perform.
Sure. Well, and it's good advice with any new to you shotgun.
Absolutely.
To do some patterning, because as we mentioned earlier, while we were doing some testing on the range, you could take 10 of these exact models, and you might see your pattern change a little bit.
Sure. Between
each of them, just because that's the nature of the 12 gauge platform.
It absolutely is. We pride ourselves on our barrels construction, our barrels consistency, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to prefer one load over the other. So, you know, if you're looking at it from an agency standpoint, you're going to be constrained by policy. But if you're not constrained by policy, we heartily recommend that you go out and you try a wide swath of munitions to see which one's going to be best for you.
No, that's a good idea. So we've got the 590R, but you've got another one here on the table. It's the 590RM.
Yeah, so we're pretty happy with this one, and you'll see why here in a moment. So,
hand you one of those.
I mean, 10 rounds is great, right? That's pretty great. But you know what else is pretty great? 20 rounds. This is the guy she told you not to worry about. Right there. So 20 rounds can be a little unwieldy, sure. But, you know, if you're all by yourself and you're in a bad situation, you're going to feel pretty good about having capacity. Likewise, 10-round magazine, people would think that 10 rounds could be bulky and unwieldy. But the fact is, The magazine-fed gun brings that ammo from the front to the middle, making it very well balanced. So it might look a little awkward, but these 10 rounds are more balanced and allow a more controlled movement with the gun than a standard tube with 7 or 8 rounds does.
Sure. Well, and you know, we had a chance. One of the staff members here, as he was talking about the platform, he's saying that he's worked with a lot of different magazine-fed, well, box magazine-fed shotgun platforms, and he just couldn't say enough kind words about the Mossberg magazine design.
You know, when it comes to magazines, you can see that a lot of thought, a lot of engineering went into this, and I would be the last person to tell you that there's no such thing as a perfect solution, but we think we've come pretty darn close to it with this particular magazine. And again, if the weight and the bulk is too much for you, we have 5, we have 10, 15, and 20. So you can pick what works best for you, which is one of our kind of like our guiding ethos. It's what works best for the consumer. You know, we want to give them options.
Well, and I know some people feel like they are kind of heavy and bulky, but you got to remember the 12 gauge shells themselves are heavy and bulky by comparison to what you typically put into a rifle magazine or a pistol magazine. But you know, I think we've seen really good results.
Yeah, they've worked real well for us, and they're working real well for our friends overseas right now too.
Sure. And didn't you make a modification based on some of the feedback you got from the breacher?
From the initial Gen 1, not from the breacher necessarily, but there have been modifications and even some internal modifications.
Sure.
From the,
I was noticing you've added some guides.
Those were actually in our original Gen 1 too. Right. Yeah. It's just they look a little, it's a little off-putting looking at them from different angles.
Okay.
Yeah.
That looks great. Well, we're going to keep an eye out. Again, these are the new Mossberg models that we expect to see out the front end of next year.
Yeah. They'll be, by the time this video drops, they'll be available for purchase. And thank you for coming out. Thank you for being our guest. And thank you for putting these guys together.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate your time.